So the cell biologist that I mentioned a couple weeks ago when I did the talk on the power of the placebo effect, the power of our beliefs, who wrote the book, The Biology of Belief, he said something that really struck me and has stuck with me. He said that the function of the mind is to create coherence between our beliefs and the reality we experience. Function of the mind. And the way I see this, it can kind of go both ways. It can be, right? It can be from the inside out and from the outside in. From the outside in, it might be something like, whenever we experience something, we try to make sense of it by choosing a belief that fits into our already, our perceived reality that's kind of already formed, right? And that's not anything that's conscious, it's an automatic thing, but that does happen. We want to create coherence. And it's kind of what Reverend Rosemary was talking about last week when she's saying that we create our own stories about the things and the events that happen to us in our lives based on what we believe to be true about ourselves and the world. And those, you need look no further than the current election cycle to see this played out. What a wide variety of beliefs about what's wrong with America and what needs to be done to fix it and who's the right person to fix it. And all stemming from that individual's own perspective of reality.
Amen.
Yeah. And okay, so the perspective of reality that the people who are supporting Donald Trump, I don't know. I've never been to that reality. I'm not sure where that reality is. It's a mystery. It's all a mystery. So that's sort of the idea of, from the outside in, creating this coherence between our beliefs and the reality we experience. Now, from the inside out, it's this idea that our beliefs form and shape our experience in life. And when we choose to change those beliefs, it creates a corresponding effect in our world, in our experience, right? This kind of basic new thought, it's the philosophy that we are kind of based on. It's a principle that we're familiar with. And yet, it's not so easy to do. It's not always easy to do. It's not always easy to see the rainbow in the middle of a rainstorm. It's not so easy to know that we're whole and complete when we're not feeling well. It's not so easy to accept that we're infinitely abundant when we're having trouble paying our bills. So, sometimes we need a little magic. We need to explore a little magic. How many of you are familiar with the term magic realism? A few? Yeah. Some people are familiar with it in regards to literature. It's a genre. I see some heads back there. Yeah, it's when an author infuses a real world or kind of a mundane world with a little bit of magic. And in a way that makes you believe that that magical world is part of the natural world. Now, Latin American authors are really good at this. They just have this down. Gabriel Garcia Marquez and 100 Years of Solitude, that's quite the example of that. Isabel Allende, The House of the Spirits, which is first a book, and then made into a movie starring Meryl Streep and Jeremy Irons. Remember that one? And remember, Like Water for Chocolate? Anybody see Like Water for Chocolate? Which was first a book, and then made into a movie, and then made into a cookbook, yeah. Because it's the story of this girl who, their family tradition is that the last girl that's born into the family cannot get married. She is destined to be there and take care of her mother till her dying day. And this girl is sort of raised in the kitchen. She loves cooking. And so so she knows this is her destiny, and yet, of course, she falls in love with a very cute guy who loves her terribly too, but they can't get together, they can't get married. And so every time she cooks, all of the emotions that she's feeling get transferred into the food and transferred to the people who eat it. So if she's sad, she's crying, and that gets into the food, and the people who eat it, they break out in tears the entire party. Or she's feeling passionate, that gets transferred into the food, and suddenly everyone's feeling very amorous. And there's one boy where she hates her sister because her sister is married her boyfriend, and that gets transferred into her food, which the sister eats and causes her an eternal case of bad gas for the rest of her life. It's a sweet, charming movie. Like Water for Chocolate. And speaking of movies, the last year's Academy Award winner for Best Picture was Birdman, which is a really great example of magic realism in cinema. And I was actually going to show you a clip of this, but I couldn't find one without a lot of salty language. So I thought I'd show you a clip of Big Fish. Yeah, was first a book, a local Chapel Hill author, Daniel Wallace, right? And then Tim Burton turned it into a movie. And Chris, can we play the clip of that? Isn't that sweet? Sweet, it's so silly. So the magical elements can be, silly, crazy, beautiful. Sometimes they're scary, really frightening. Sometimes they are spiritually enlightening. It's kind of a reflection of how we human beings, perceive our life. We never see anything that is neutral. We don't really see what's there. We see a projection onto our world of what we believe ourselves to be, what we believe about the world. It's always a projection. So if we believe that the world is threatening or that we're doomed to repeat our past, that's what will be projected into our world. But if we believe that life is a delightful adventure, that the universe is there to support us in realizing our heart's desires, you guys saying about? That gets projected into the world. So it's all what we are making up about the reality of our world. Okay, so I first learned about this term magic realism when I was a teenager, and it was applied to the artwork that my sister was doing. In case you don't know, I have a half-sister who was already out of the house and married when I was born and was well into her career as an established artist when I became a teen, which is when I became interested in what she was doing. And what she was doing at the time was called photorealism. And here's an example of that. Photorealism, it looks very real. There's, it almost looks like it could be a photograph. And then when she sort of started on a spiritual path, we began to see more magical, more mythical, more magical elements in her work. Wow. And this is called Persephone's Door. Okay, a very real world and exquisite detail. But there's this element here, this magical element over there. If you can see that figure there. Perhaps Persephone, perhaps that's an open door that she is entering in for the winter, going down into the underworld for the winter. You know, that changes the whole feeling of the piece. You know, or perhaps what it does is it opens our awareness of what's possible. Opens our awareness of what's possible. So, a very real world, you know, a very detailed world, and yet if you look beyond what's there, or more accurately, more directly, more deeply into what's there, you see something more. So do you see a shape that's beginning to take, it's either coming into existence there on the rock, this is called spirit rock, or perhaps it's in the process of dissolving. That image. It's very, very sort of, you know, you really have to look at it. So my whole point with this is that magic realism can activate our imagination. It activates our imagination. And imagination is absolutely essential to changing our beliefs and embracing a new vision for our lives. We need the imagination. We very often get stuck into this current version, you know, of reality, the way it's a very narrow version of reality, which, by the way, we created, usually by default. You know, the present reality that we are experiencing very often gets passed down from those perceptions, get passed down from generation to generation. And if we keep focusing on that narrow perception, we'll keep experiencing that same thing tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So, imagination. If we use imagination, that can break us out of that present moment and, woo, maybe there's a new possibility to embrace here. Maybe there's a new way to look at this. Pam Grout, whose book E Squared, that we are using as a basis of these talks, said this: "Your beliefs and expectations are powerful and profound. Indeed, they are the animating energy of life itself. They're the animating energy of life itself." You know, so if we can just freeze, let me go back here for a minute. If we just freeze frame our current reality for just a moment and open to a new possibility, you know, open to seeing more deeply into what's really there, you know, that is absolutely the direction that we want to go in, because that can help bridge the gap. Yes. You know, we take it can really help us take this current reality, crossing a bridge over to the other side where it's, you know, limitless possibility. So we're really talking about expanding our imagination out to include another possibility. The possibility that the divine is in every challenge, every experience, every condition in our life. Expand our awareness out to accept that we are whole and complete and abundant and love-filled and successful and divinely guided, leading meaningful lives, which is, by the way, how God sees us. So we're not making it up. You know, it's what it is. It's we're seeing more deeply into what's there. We're seeing more deeply. So we can kind of use it as a tool. We can use magic realism as a tool and say, okay, this is my life. This is my current life. And yet I'm going to expand it out. This is my life expanded out to include the career of my dreams or the relationship of my dreams. This is my life. I'm going to expand it out to include a peaceful, harmonious experience in life where I'm divinely guided in my activity. This is my life. Expand it out to include, a vibrantly healthy body. And then we just kind of weave that into the picture. We weave that into our current picture. That peace, that magical peace that is really the reality that is there if we see more deeply into it. That can absolutely change everything. And art, literature, movies can inspire us. That can help us bridge the gap. Okay, so.
Even sermons.
Even sermons can do that, yes. Thank you, yeah. I hope so. I certainly hope so. Another really helpful tool to use is vision boards, or an intention mandala, or a vision board. That can also help us solidify those images. And, you put them down and you really focus on it's really amazing how a vision board, those images can just go directly into your consciousness, bypassing the filter. So it's also a really good key for us to do. So our experiment for this week, if you so choose, the experiment for this week is to take an aspect, of your life, and by the way, it is in your bulletin, that you want to see a shift in. And look directly at it, but look more deeply into it. Look more deeply into it. See if you can see God in that situation. See if you can see the divine there, because truly, in the midst of, the experience of lack, the truth is that the infinite abundance of God is right there in the center of it. In the experience of confusion, the reality is that the divine clarity is right there in the middle of it. In the experience of a broken heart, the truth is that infinite divine love is right there in the middle of it. The truth is that right in what seems to hurt, what seems to not feel well, divine wholeness is there. So we use our imagination to wrap our minds around that. And so you could try a technique like an artist or a musician or a movie maker, a screenwriter, or a novelist. What's that? Visualization, yes. And here's a way that you can sort of paint, sort of use it like a canvas. So say that I was experiencing some pain right here. Right? I might want to take a magical piece, a little page from the book of Magic Realism, and just kind of imagine a healing balm being applied to whatever part of my body was feeling pain, that loving, application. Or maybe you could think about the hands of an angel, sort of gently massaging or caressing whatever organ or whatever part of your body. Just get that image into your mind. If you want to realize more prosperity in your life, how about imagining like a giant sunbeam, a golden sunbeam with, abundance of gold pouring down right into your bank account. Have fun with this. The point is to have fun. If maybe you are experiencing difficulty with another person, imagine that you're standing in a field of beautiful flowers that are blossoming with that person. And you smell the fragrance. It just smells like love. You're surrounded by love. Just picture that in your mind. If you are experiencing chaos in your life, How about imagining a soft blue blanket just kind of settling down into that place in your life? Or if there's any area where you feel stuck, how about imagining a door of opportunity literally opening up in that area of your life? So the point is to just play with these images, make it vivid, make it real for yourself, have fun with it. So that is the experiment for this week. Take an area of your life, come up with it. You can use one of these, you can use one of your own, and spend some time visualizing in your meditation, in your walk in the sacred spaces, before you go to sleep at night. Imagine these yourself, expanded out with this expansive new possibility, this magical element added. And allow it to just seep into your consciousness. Allow that awareness that, you know what, even though I can't see it, the divine is right there. Abundance is right there. Clarity is right there. Wholeness is right there. It's all right there. And just open to it. Our job is to imagine it and to open to it. Okay, so let's do like a 48-hour thing. 48 hours, start this. If you can do a vision board or a intention mandala, go ahead and do that on this specific area. That will help to, again, solidify those images, and then use that to allow those images to fall into your consciousness. And 48 hours later, I know that you guys are going to have some miraculous, magical results with this, and I want to hear it. So please come back and tell me, or Reverend Rosemary, or post it on our Facebook page, your results with this experiment. So have fun. Enjoy. Namaste.
Namaste.